Hello, good afternoon. Today we're going to talk to and about Eric Larson and what he's saying right here in this tweet. The total of the discussion is not really interesting, at least not to me, but this argument right here he's making, those present a problem for me. Okay, what does he say? He says, exactly my point. The audience can't be empowered and allowed to dictate policy or we all lose. Fans on both sides will be nitpicking comics to death. This way leads to censorship and the Comics Code Authority. Okay, first of all, this is a false middle fallacy. Okay? Uh, there's not a middle. I'm sure there must be people in the right that are arguing against certain kind of comics or certain stuff in comics shouldn't be published, but funny enough it's the same things that the left doesn't want published. So since most of us, I believe, aren't doing an argument from morality, we are doing an argument from quality. This is a fallacy. We're not asking for censorship, we're asking for good stories. We're not telling you you shouldn't publish your book Savage Dragon as you are publishing it, as you are writing it, and it's the last issue is really strong. I had to go find someone to lend me a copy and read through it so to see if what someone was saying about your book was true, because I didn't remember your book being that strong. I could make arguments against what you depict there, and it wouldn't be about morality, it would be about certain cultural aspects that right now are it's okay to depict certain things while certain other things isn't okay to depict in a comic, in a TV show, in a movie, because the left will jump on you and try to get you fired. And they are doing that. If you haven't seen this, Mr. Larson, well, I don't know, maybe you don't see the news, but it's the truth. So what the fellow below you, Jonathan Delany, is saying is correct. The Comics Code Authority right now is being replaced by a mean girls cabal on Twitter, whom I suspect even you are afraid to disagree with, lest you be next. They run people like EVS right out, and that's fine, but when the fans notice and complain, suddenly they are the problem. Okay, what we've been saying, Mr. Larson, is we don't like this book, we don't like this change, we don't like this character, and fans have always said things like that. I assume you would agree with me. The different thing right now is that when we say, why do you have to make a comic called Iron Man and have a female teenager black as the lead, then we are called racist because it's a black female. We are called sexist because it's a female. When what we don't want is certain kind of cheap changes that are being made to our comics in search for an audience that isn't there. And I'm going to prove to you that the audience that some of you, I'm not sure if you are, but some of you are chasing after, it's not there. which brings us to our next tweet by you. That would be this one exactly. So you say 15 years ago the number one book sold 127 copies. December 2017 the number one sold 158,000 copies. 15 years ago the book number 100 sold 21,000, and in the same position in 2017 sold 21,000. So you're saying that we're selling more books now than 15 years ago. Okay, and this isn't correct. This isn't right. And you are either misinformed, you are manipulating the numbers, or you are lying, straight out lying. I don't know which one would it be. Let me show you something about some small chart I did. I will show the evidence that what I'm saying is true. Okay, so 1960, Uncle Scrooge by Dell, a little bit over 1 million copies. We jumped to, the industry kept selling around those numbers. We jumped to 1995, top selling book by Marvel, 229,000. 1996, Image, 227,000. 1997, Marvel, 196,000. 1998, Marvel, 154,000. 2008, Marvel, 134,000. 2017, Marvel, 111,000. 2018, DC, 158,000. All of these numbers, with the exception of this one that I can't find the month, only the year, are for January of said year. Okay, 1995 January, top selling book. Same thing. You can clearly see a downward trend, and then in 2018 we have a jump. Now, what happened between January 2017 and January 2018 that made a difference? Well, it's not revert precisely, although it got started right here, and then we have Doomsday Clock and Dark Knight's Metal selling right now. So now you're making the argument you're making, sir, it's this is fine, everything is fine. Well, no, everything isn't fine. Now let's see if I'm correct. Comichron sales figures for 1960. Title: Uncle Scrooge. Publisher: Dell. Average copies sold per issue. Oh, average. So on the year, average 1 million. Superman was selling 800,000. The Batman was selling 500,000. Even Superman's Paul, Jimmy Olsen, was selling 500,000. And you could go on and on and on. Okay, this is 1960. Let's make another jump. This is 1969. Archie, 500,000. Superman, 500,000. Superboy, 400,000. Yes. Spider-Man, 380,000. Yes. Fantastic Four, 340,000. Let's make another jump, and now we are in 1994. Okay, 1994. Top-selling book: Spawn, Strike Force, X-Men, Spawn. I can't find the numbers, but yes. Now let's make another jump. 1996. We don't have 1995. Perfect. 1995. Best-selling book: Amazing X-Men, 229, 230. Astonishing X-Men, 223. Weapon X, 213, 214. And as you can see, it's Marvel, Spawn. Yeah. Top 10, Marvel, with Spawn there and nothing else. Then we have Angela, not from Marvel, Image. Webworks, Image. Then we have Marvel again, Image again, Marvel. Number 16, DC manages to put Batman, and then a special, Batman vs Predator. Then Image again, then DC, then Image again, and we're already in the top 20. But this is not all we are going to find out. 1996 again. Image, top 3, top 4. Then DC, Crusade, DC, Image, DC, Image. Of course, January 1996. Then 1997, X-Men, 196. And we don't have that statistics. Okay, but from this year on, we're going to take a look at something else. Okay, so we know how many sold the top, the number 1 book. Now let's see here. Comics unit sales. The top 300 sold 8.64 million copies. Yes, the top 300. Next year, top book 154. We're going down. The top 300, 7 million copies. 2008. 1998, 2008. We're still going down. 134. Top 300 comics, 6.76. So from 8.64 to 6.76, almost 2 million copies down among the top 300 comics. (2017) 110. Top 300 comics, 7.3 million copies. What's happening? The industry is selling more 2017 than in 2018. We are seeing an uptake. Now 2018, 157. Top 300, 6.44. No, 6 million copies. So there's a downward trend from previous year. Yes. Now let's take a small look here. Okay, this is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman in 1960, 8 issues a year, 210,000 copies of each average. Okay, when the numbers went down, they went down to around 60,000, and they cancelled and relaunched the book. Yes. So what you are saying is that it's not a bad thing that comic sales are around the same or even lower than just after the comic crash over 20 years ago. I would say that no, sir, this isn't fine. This is not fine. Now, you mentioned digital sales. Yes. Okay, let's see where we have. Oh yes, digital sales. Digital sales, comics and graphic novels. So I'm going to post all the links, the description of the video. So let's see. IDW says, at IDW the huge growth we saw in digital sales in the early days of ebooks flattened around 2015 to 2016. It is still a significant revenue stream, measured at around 11.5% of physical sales. Keep this number in mind. Okay. So this is for IDW. They say that it's 11.5. Now the total of comics and graphic novels, 90 million of the total, and that 90 million represents 9% of total sales, 10% down from 2014. This is February 2017. Okay, and the article tells us that it's the same in books, not only in comics but in books. Physical books are recovering, are starting to sell more. Why? I have my theories, but this is not the theme of this video. So 9% of total sales, how much? Let's say it's 10%. It's another 16,000. Not that big of a number as some would want us to believe. Now let's debunk the next myth most people come around: scholastic sales. I have done this before. I'm going to have to do it once more. Okay, so Ghost was the #1 kids paperback book last year amid growing interest in graphic novels for younger readers. This is the book most people cite when they are talking about scholastic sales. They say, oh, they sell all they want there. But not really. 213 copies. All year 2016. All year 2016. 213 copies. Oh, but it's selling. La 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 la. It's the best selling book ever. Not really. This is the best selling book ever. Watchmen. 1 million copies in 2018. This is 10 years ago. Watchmen had sold already 1 million copies. Okay. Now, here's a chart with the numbers. Okay. The author of Ghosts, yes, she's a great seller. Yes, I will believe it. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of the top 10 places are hers. So I'm willing to believe she sells like gangbusters. Okay, let's say 200, 200, another 200, so 600, 700, let's say 800,000 copies among her 4 books. Yes, this is for 2017. So no, that's not true that scholastic sales are going to save any comic book company. Okay. So once again, when what we don't want, what we are complaining, it's that when we say we don't like this change, people like you, Mr. Larson, people like you tell us that we're racist, that we're sexist, that we're this or that. Okay? And you people are so funny that you don't even care who you are talking to when you say that kind of stuff. And when we play the race or the sex card, then people on your side have the gall, the audacity to say we are sock puppets, to say that we are not really Latinos. Y sí, soy latino, vivo en México. Avíseme cuando venga y con mucho gusto lo voy a ver a la convención en la que vaya a estar usted aquí en la Ciudad de México. Lo saludo para que pueda usted conocer a uno de sus críticos aquí en la Ciudad de México. Yes, yes, I know not all of you got that. Yes, I'm a Latino. I live in Mexico City, and wherever Mr. Larson wants, if he's coming to a convention here in Mexico City, he can tell me, and I will gladly go and meet him, so he can meet one of his critics here in Mexico City. I'm really tired of this line of argumentation. No, the industry is not fine. The industry is barely starting a recovery trend. The people that the Comics Code Authority, as you say, Mr. Larson, the Comics Code Authority are already trying to push for changes because they don't like this or that book. But we will never see you, or people like you, creators like you, we will never see you talk against it. They're pushing because they don't like how Muslim characters are being depicted in Green Lanterns, one of the best books that DC has right now. Okay, where they are depicting Muslims as people first, not as Orthodox Muslims. They are people that happen to be Muslim. Their religion is not the most important thing. But they don't like how Muslims are being represented. Are you going to tell them they shouldn't speak like that? Are you going to join your voice with us to tell DC that they shouldn't give in to this vocal minority who don't even buy their books? Are you, sir? I don't think so, but I would really like it very much if you did, if you proved me wrong. Well, I have nothing more to say about this, so let me tell me what you think in the comment section. If you like the content, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.